Fanto on behalf of Mr. Parsons. Today's time and date set for a violation. We've reviewed the allegations, reviewed his rights to have a hearing in this matter. Mr. Parsons prepared to plead guilty, voluntarily waiving those rights.
Do you understand all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you went over those advice and rights with your counsel? You understood them? Is that a yes? Miss Maudlin can't hear whispers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you sign and date that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you understand that if you enter a plea of guilty, you're going to be waiving those hearing rights outlined in the form?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Get it. Mr. Parsons, I know you're nervous, but Miss Maudlin we have got to keep her happy. She has got to hear what you say and make a record. Okay.
Yes.
There you go. All right. So to the allegation that you provided dilute samples on January 11th and January 16th, how do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I'm going to accept the plea as knowing and voluntarily given. Mr. Fanto.
Judge, had a conversation with Mr. Parsons. I spoke with Mr. Keys. Mr. Parsons seems to be doing well. Otherwise, it's been difficult for him, and he's learning process. He understands that there's ways to be able to drink fluids in order to give a proper sample, and there's ways not to. And he's learning that. I would ask the court. I think the recommendation is reasonable, and I would ask the court to adopt that. Again, Mr. Parsons seems interested in the program, seems to be engaging in other items, and it's just a matter of getting over the hump here.
Because marijuana is going up even with dilute tests. That's weird. Doesn't that seem weird to you, Mr. Keys?
So the levels have been fairly consistent. They're not really decreasing.
No.
I will say that we did an oral swab test that will go back, much less time, roughly a couple days as opposed to 30 days, to see if there had been any new use. We had that done today, and it was negative for all the substances.
Okay. All right. Mr. Parsons, I know you're having a hard time adjusting. I'm trying very hard to be patient with you. I really am. But I'm not gonna let you make a mockery of a treatment court program. I'm just not, right? So here's what's concerning to me. You were just here for a violation in front of me because you missed testing like a week ago. You just missed testing a week ago. And I'm like look, I gave you a few days in county, which I think you deserved. But I don't want to this is a program to try and help people stay out of jail. The goal is to help you learn some coping skills and some behaviors that will stop you from repeatedly ending up in front of judges and spending your entire life in the criminal justice system. That's the goal, right? But if you're not gonna, it takes two. Right? We could do all the stuff in the world. If you're not showing up and you're having dilute tests and whatever else, why are we using a spot on you? And I know you're new, and I'm going to give you, that was just on January 8th. I'm really trying to be patient with you, Mr. Parsons, but you are pushing your luck. You have got to show up for testing. How do I know you're not using? Why do you think we have you test?
To show that I'm not using.
Correct. So how do I know you're not using if you don't show up to testing?
You don't, Your Honor.
Right. So how is that working?
It's not.
If it's a treatment court program and the goal is to get you out of active use and into recovery, but I can't tell if you're using or not, we got a problem. Write an essay explaining what you're going to do to prevent dilute samples in the future, which I think Mr. Keys is being incredibly reasonable with you. And I think it's because we had our staffing yesterday where the whole team got together and talked about you. And it really sounded like you were making a little bit of progress in some other areas. And I'm confident that that's what Mr. Keys is basing this on. you're gonna write an essay explaining what you're gonna do to prevent dilute samples in the future. You have 4 hours of community service to be completed in 2 weeks. And you have 1 day jail in abeyance. It's a fancy word for you're not going to jail. Okay? What I'm telling you is if you have a missed or a dilute test within the next 2 weeks, I'm giving you a day in jail on this violation. So I'm giving you a carrot and a stick, right? Just show up to testing and you don't have to do a day. But if you miss a test or you're testing dilute in the next 2 weeks, you're gonna just go do a day. Plus you're gonna have a new violation and you'll probably do a day on that too. I don't know how else to get through to you, except for to have you concerned. I know you don't like jail, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
1 day jail in abeyance, no missed dilute tests for 14 days. You could do it, Drake. Otherwise, you just have the essay in 4 hours. So you don't have jail time. You have no jail time unless you mess up and miss or fail, miss, or dilute a test in the next 14 days, okay? And if you're still testing positive for marijuana, but your numbers are increasing, I'm not gonna violate you for that. As long as it's going down, did I say increasing?
You did.
Strike that. As long as it's going down and it doesn't look like you're using anymore, I'm not gonna violate you for that. It's gonna take time to get out of your system. But if those numbers start going up again, that's positive. We good?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Parsons, you're all set.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mr. Parsons, I really think you can do this. I really think that this is gonna be beneficial for you. And I really want you to be successful, but I'm not gonna, play games with you for too long either. We've got a program. So you can do this. Show up, do what you gotta do. Your name. All right, Ms. Hanson, an attorney attempted to speak with you, a court-appointed attorney. It's my understanding you didn't want to speak with him. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am, because I believe the last time I seen Judge Sutherland, or it was the guy, I forget his name. He told me to do a mental health class, which I was already in the process of doing. And he said, once I completed that, to call the county clerk, let her know what program I completed, which I did. It was New Oakland Health and Human Services with Rehabilitation Center.
Ma'am, Miss Hanson, Miss Hanson, you have a few cases here. You have a case that you were sent for a pre-sentence investigation and you never showed up and a warrant was issued. It looks like you took a plea and they reduced a felony to a misdemeanor and you were to show up at probation and you failed to do so. And that case is in warrant status. You have another case that's in warrant status for a larceny that allegedly occurred at Walmart on August 6th of 2023. So those are the two things you're here for. Sir, ma'am, I'm sorry. Are you waiving your right to speak to a lawyer?
I was in the hospital then.
Ma'am, listen to my question and answer. No, listen. We could take 45 minutes doing this, or we could take just a minute. It's up to you. I got nothing else to do. Do you want to talk to a lawyer?
No, because I thought this was a misunderstanding.
I'm telling you, it's not. There's a new charge that you didn't show up for that's in warrant status and an old charge.
And I didn't know I had probation. I got nothing from you guys in the mail.
Okay.
I guess
All right, so
on
this,
I
ma'am,
was in a hospital, in a mental health hospital at that. Like Judge Salamone told me to do. He said, go to a mental health.
you've not had Judge Salamone. It looks like you've previously had Judge Slavin on your cases.
Sorry.
So.
He told me to finish the course, and I did. I called the
Okay.
county And I did.
All right, well, ma'am, I don't have any record of that. All I have is that you absconded, you never appeared for your probation visit, and you've got another case for larceny that's in the system. Ma'am,
I would've got
you've been brought to court on a misdemeanor charge, and you have the following basic rights: to plead guilty or not guilty, or to stand mute.
a pair of shoes.
And the allegation is that you, on August 6th of 2023, you, committed a larceny of over $1,000 at the Walmart. Looks like it's signed as a city case, so this is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail, $500, or 3 times the value of the property. Do you understand all that?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Okay. So how do you plead to that offense for purposes of arraignment?
I plead, guilty.
You want me to enter a guilty plea before you talk to an attorney?
Yes,
Before you
because
come to court?
I'm gonna go to court, yes, but what I'm saying is, I was in my bipolar took over and I'm manic depressive. So right before I went in to my hospital, like he asked me to, I freaked out and
Okay, I don't want you to tell me any more, Miss Hanson. I want you to wait for a court date on that. I'm gonna enter a not guilty plea. You could talk to an attorney, which I strongly recommend you do when you come in for your pretrial. And then the other one is a show cause or a warrant that was issued because you failed to appear on August 7th of 2023. The original charge was assaulting resisting police officers, malicious destruction of a building, and domestic violence. That was ruled down to an attempted resisting and obstructing an officer, and you failed to appear. A warrant was issued for your arrest. Interim bond was issued. So we're gonna reset this. It looks like you need to see the probation department and you need to come in for a hearing.
Ma'am, may I ask a question? How can I be in trouble for all of this when I was in the hospital and I got no paperwork?
Well, that sounds like a defense that you can bring up at the appropriate time, ma'am. But that's not, today, I have to tell you what the charges against you are. I have to explain all of this to you or I wouldn't be doing my job. Who do you live with? These are misdemeanor offenses.
I don't really get in trouble. I try to fix it. I don't know what happened.
On the case ending in 1518, where she failed to show up for the probation visit, she has a $2,500 personal bond. And on the larceny case, the 231793, she has a $100 personal bond. So altogether, it's $2,600 personal. Ma'am, you're to appear in court as directed. You're not to leave the state without permission of the court. You're not to commit any new crimes while released. You're to immediately notify the court of change of address or phone number. Do you understand me?
Yes, Your Honor, I understand all of that.
No alcohol or drugs.
Yes, ma'am. I don't
And
drink.
I'm assuming you're printed, but you have personal bond. You'll get a court date in the mail. And if you don't show up for that court date, you won't get a personal bond next time you get picked up and you'll just sit in Wayne County. So make sure you show up for court, ma'am.
I will be there. I will be.
All right, you're all set for the day.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. James Gazicki on behalf of Mr. Napier, waive reading of the complaint, stand mute. Your Honor, I believe on all 4 files, Mr. Napier owes money that totals $2,034. He indicates he is employed. I believe it's DB Brown. He's a truck driver. He does have family in the area and has an income of about $44,000. So I don't think he's going to be a flight risk, but I also recognize the fact that these cases are old and unpaid. So leaving discretion to the court on bond, Your Honor.
Yeah, Mr. Napier, you keep doing it over and over and over again. You have been in warrant status so many times on these files, and it's all traffic, it's all fines. Every time you come in, I give you a payment plan. Every time you come in, I give you a payment plan. Every time you come in, if you get a bond, you forfeit other people's bonds. You forfeit bonds in your name. You forfeit bonds in others people's names. Like, you just don't come. So what's the solution to that? You forfeited 325 on this case. You forfeited. Some of it's other people's money. You forfeited 225 on this other case. You forfeited nothing on that one yet. $225 on this other case. So you forfeited $770 you just threw away. Because you won't come to court. A couple hundred of that is like someone else's money. So you don't, I mean, you don't care about your dad's money. You're not going to care about what I say.
Your Honor.
Yeah?
I don't have Zoom application on my phone, so that's why every time I miss Zoom, and you know, after the pandemic, you guys start doing Zoom. And when I sent a letter to the 23rd District Court to ask them to do in person, I was declined because I can do in person better than I can do a Zoom because I'm a truck driver delivery, so I have a dolly in my hand making deliveries, so I can't be at work and on Zoom at the same time. And every single time I forfeit that money was mine. It was nobody else's. Maybe somebody may have came up here and paid the bond for me, but everything was my money.
All right, so you're throwing away all your money and you're trying to tell me, I mean, I can look at you, you're not an old guy, that you don't know how to use Zoom or that affects your ability. Taking a day off work or setting down a dolly for a minute. I mean, I don't know how stupid I look to you, but that has got to be like on the top 5 most ridiculous things I've heard so far in 2024. So what do we do now?
May I speak, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
I'm not the truck driver, so it's like, if I put my dolly down, I'm gonna slow the truck route up. So it may sound stupid to you, but it's actually like, I don't know if you know anything about truck driving, but we're actually on a route and we're on a time schedule, so we have to keep moving. But if I know how to work Zoom, but I don't have an iPhone, so I have just a regular flip up phone. Just have a minute phone. I don't have an iPhone.
All of these are a payment plan though. I mean, like, your argument is not good, but all of these are payment plans. So it's all you had to do was come to court.
In Zoom or in
Right?
person?
Payment plan. 2 are payment plans plus a civil infraction. You haven't paid a penny. All right. So on case 19284T, you've got a bond of 2,500, 10%. On case ending in 2843, you got a bond of 2,500, 10%. On the other 2, I'm recalling the warrants. And I'm gonna put you back on a payment plan until next time I see you when you get picked up. And that time I'm just gonna give you jail. You get a payment plan of $50 a month. And next time I see you, you can come to your court in person or on Zoom. Even
I
if
don't
your
have
paperwork says.
I don't have Zoom. I don't have
Do you,
Zoom.
listen to me. If you get a notice from the court and it says Zoom, that's just for people's convenience. If you want to come in person, come in person. The court is open to the public. You are free to come in person.
And how was I supposed to know that?
I don't know, you could contact the court.
You guys don't answer the phone.
Okay, all right, so $2,500, 10% on the 2 active files and a payment plan of $50 a month on the other 2. Miss Beaumont, can you hear me? Miss Beaumont, I understand that you don't want to participate in proceedings. I need you to know you have a constitutional right to be arraigned. So would you like to hear the charges against you, ma'am? Ma'am, are you refusing to participate? If you don't stand up and walk to the window, I'm going to assume that you do not want to participate in proceedings. I see Officer Ziegler that she's been in custody since January 6th. So this would be her 48 hours. I do think that.
Sorry, Madam, she came in yesterday, the 7th.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at Miss Nolan. I apologize. So she has tomorrow to be arraigned as well. Perhaps another day she'll have a better mood tomorrow and she'll be interested in being arraigned. But I'm not going to arraign her if she's not going to come to the window.
Okay.
And I'll just make a note in the file. So I believe Judge Slavin has them tomorrow, so he's aware.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dave,